Hey, what's up, guys? I'm reviewing the second game of Fibonacci and the Phong Vũ Buffalo. This is a game that I believe essentially forces a tiebreaker. So let's just jump into it. We see the Rise ban and the Akali ban, both bans like super contested on this patch, at least in the play-ins. We might see that other teams think about them differently later on. They are a bit harder to control for less coordinated teams. And the Galio game picked up here. I mean, getting banned off. Um, I think they just don't want to deal with the Galio for the jungle pressure and just the global or semi-global ultimate. It's been causing some trouble, especially in certain situations. Banning out the Nautilus, so we're probably not going to see a Rek'Sai ban here at all. The Nautilus ban is kind of interesting to me. I guess they don't want to give it for a flex pick, but I don't feel like it's super high priority. So we pick up the Irelia here, which is a flex pick for mid and top. They decide to go with something else maybe. Kindred. So I guess Phong Vũ Buffalo's their strategy is leave leave Rek'Sai up, and we pick Kindred so they can't pick the Rek'Sai. An interesting strategy for sure. You could definitely still argue Rek'Sai is still a strong pick, even into the Kindred. With Braum locked in, kind of expected a Lucian, but I guess not. Kind of a weird pickup, Braum Talia, when the Irelia is still up and can be flexed. I'm not sure who plays it though. Fiora getting quite a bit of hover. The LeBlanc gets picked up. I actually like this. Uh, I think it's probably fairly good until Talia and your jungle combo uh, is going to be pretty good. The Irelia does get picked up, which means it's automatically going for top lane. I don't really like that. I'd much rather have the Irelia as a flex pick and then pick LB later on, or a different mid. You don't have to necessarily pick LeBlanc. But we locked in pretty much the picks that we're going to have. Renekton game picked up here, which is just a counter pick to the Irelia. One thing to note is this dive combo onto the Irelia is very strong. So that's something you want to keep your eye out for. Because the Kindred can't really deal with the dives all too well in the early stages of the game, let's say pre-6. So I would expect to see some kind of dive shenanigans come down from Fibonacci. Rakan ban, pretty interesting. They have to pinch somewhere, and I guess they don't want to pinch ADs, so they're going to pinch towards that support pool. And we see the Azir ban. It's a fairly interesting ban. I don't mind it as much in this game as I minded it in the first game, to where if Fibonacci played it. And the Varus ban. With that banned out, they're pretty much going to force the Lucian ban here, I would believe. But they may just not ban it and just give it. But I don't think it's very wise. Yeah, so as soon as the Varus gets banned out, there's no answer for Lucian, so they have to ban the Lucian. Pretty standard here. Or at least that's how they feel. They feel like they have to ban it out. That's an interesting pick. It looks like it's probably going to be Vel'Koz for middle. Although it could go AD in some matchups, I guess. but it looks like he'll be for mid. Ezra getting picked up here. It actually is going to go for mid pretty much no matter what because they picked Braum, so this can't possibly be flexed to AD. So it's kind of weird that, I mean, I guess you kind of want to see what AD they pick, what bot lane matchup you're going to get. I was about to say something like Vayne here wouldn't be the worst. This is pretty much a free farm lane. Your Vayne is going to be able to free farm. Essentially, Kindred, it doesn't have that much early pressure. So when you pick this up with the Braum, it gets through the lane fairly well. They end up not going for it. Pretty interesting. It's decent against these two champions. It's like anti-dive to the point where you can stand aside their jumps. So it is somewhat decent. I don't think this is the best pick. Here's why. I highlighted that top, you kind of want to have jungle pressure to dive. So when you're going to be focusing top, you don't want a bot lane that auto pushes. Because these guys are always going to push into this lane. Draven auto pushes the lane, so they're always going to push in. So it's going to leave the Kindred up to... it's going to let the Kindred gank them much easier. The one thing that you could argue is that they can also focus top lane because they have LB, so they have the mid lane priority by quite a bit. So it's not like the Talia can just absolutely run them over in the top side. She has to play it pretty smart. It's not like you can just walk anywhere. The Tahm Kench is an interesting pick, but it's because there's no supports left, really. You'd have to think about something like a Leona here. Leona wouldn't be very good. Alistar, probably a better pick, I would say. I'd say Alistar is a better pick here. It just does more with what your team wants to do. We're going to kind of see the problems with this bot lane as the game goes on, I'm going to assume. And you're going to see what I mean when I say I think Alistar's a much better pick. That being said, your bot's safe, so it's not like they can die, which is why the Draven pick is really weird. Bot lane priority, pretty important, I suppose, if you're going for mass drags, but it just doesn't seem too likely. If you want to like 7-minute drag or 8-minute drag or something like that, it doesn't seem too likely, like viable for them to be doing that. I expect to see Kindred start red and Talia start blue. That's what I expect. What could also happen is Talia could start red and force the vertical, because Vel'Koz's push actually beats LB push level 1. So that's also an option for sure. I'm going to skip the pause. So that is another viable option here to do that. What do I think I prefer? I think I prefer to force the vertical. They pick up first blood there. Pretty sneaky strategy. I guess this is coaching, scouting, knowing that he face checks. Can't really face check into Braum. Could have flashed. Probably would have lived. Let's see. He would not have been able to flash. I guess he kind of wants to start his red, which is valid. Now I think the Talia just instantly starts red here. I don't think he should start blue. That being said, Talia kind of needs blue, but I don't think they can bully him off this one. Sorry about that. I think it'd be very hard for them to. Double Dorans, Vel'Koz. But this is fine as well, I suppose. It looks like they are going to start topside. Unfortunately, Talia is one of the junglers who needs a leash. So you can't do leashless and make it ambiguous to where you're starting. Unless they both leash. That's a pretty interesting way to do things as well. And we see the Vel'Koz out pushing the LeBlanc, obviously, at level 1. So they both leashed here. This guy even took some damage to try to sell it even more. Interesting pathing here by the Talia. This is problematic for sure. It looks like he took stun, so he greeted it. The Talia fucked up her path here. Should never go to Wraiths. I understand you want Wraiths for pacing, but maybe something like this into this would be a lot better, because then you're protecting your top lane for sure. I thought he was going to force the vertical, so doing something like this, scuttle, or you don't even have to do scuttle. Just walk up, contest blue, push him off blue, and then go to your scuttle. So ideally your path here would be 1, 2, 3, check / contest. If he's not on this, throw a ward down, do scuttle. If he comes on this while you're finishing scuttle, you come contest this. And then that completely prevents this guy from ever going top. Or at least if you do, he runs into him. Because you can see that the time it took him to get from here to here, he would already be like up here. So, like, you know this is the lane to watch. So essentially, you need to protect it. The whole reason why you start on this top side is not to get towards bot side, it's to come protect here. So it's kind of weird that they let that happen. So now they're going to lose the mark and the scuttle, which is pretty bad. This looks pretty bad. Okay. That chunk ran through the Talia. This guy's trying to clean it up. Renekton's waiting for cooldowns. And both of them actually die. It's pretty disastrous. Yeah, the one thing that's nice is all this bot jungle is still up. So the Talia can actually continue to do things. Again, I'll say I don't really like this Draven pick. They should be trying to reset this wave in.
Do you need it?
No.
Okay. I'm taking him to make that.
Okay. Sorry about that. Cloud Dragon, almost no priority here. Talia has to hover these guys because they know the Kindred should be down here. I mean, they know it actually because of the plant. So that's more of the reason. Okay, once this happens here, he should be walking up here. Because he knows the mid and jungler are low, so you can steal his camps at this point. Um, if not, you should be doing wraiths to get to wraiths to level 2. Look at top here. Um, it's not great. I'll say that. Okay, here's the thing. You don't have to force a gank like this because of the wave is already fucked for him. This wave is going to push in this way no matter what. So, as a jungler, you can wait until the wave's further up here because you know he has no TP, so there's no way to reset it. So Kindred would either have to walk up here, which you would know he's walking up here if you're walking into his Gromp, right? If you come up, take his Gromp, cycle back, you're going to see the Kindred if he's walking up. Or if you don't, then he's going to be like right here, right? Um, and then the wave is going to come up here anyways because the wave is pushing it towards this way. So this gank is kind of forced, not really well coordinated. Can definitely take a Gromp before. You don't really have to follow behind in pacing like this. Sorry, we're playing at normal speed, that's why it's going kind of slow. But yeah, with that being done, it's kind of like the Vel'Koz pressure didn't do anything, even though he kind of outplayed really hard. So, just like a mistake that's not being capitalized on. Spot lane is about even outside of the stacks. Now we kind of see the problem of picking an aggressive bot lane for the side of Fenerbahçe. You know that your jungler isn't going to have much bot pressure. Or maybe they change the priority to go here outside of top because top got kind of fucked. So they're kind of like, oh, we want to push the lane that's ahead instead of trying to recover a lane. But the game plan should have been to play towards this top side. You play towards top side, let the Renekton start winning the 4-1. Oh, of course, the irelia eventually outscales anyways, But as long as he's winning the 4-1, and you have Vel'Koz who can push and clear the waves, like, all of a sudden, this is why Vayne would have been good. You have Vel'Koz to clear the waves. This guy wins the 4-1, so he's pushing. And then you just have the Vayne down here, soaking solo EXP. And then you have the support roam to whatever lane is necessary. Maybe it's bottom, maybe it's mid, maybe it's just matching the other support. But this drag, you can kind of see the priority's not really there, because it doesn't really mean all too much, especially in this specific team comps. Like Cloud, jump, 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 jump. And then over here, it's like kind of similar. This guy actually gets a solo kill. Let's see how this happens. So his lane's in a pretty bad spot. It's not even in a bad spot. I don't know why he's going for this. That was retarded. Basically, he's not fighting for anything. He just decided to go here. I guess he saw a kill opening, but it doesn't, like, the wave's pushing into you. So dying for him is much worse than dying for him. Assuming the trade's fairly even. They pick up that one. They're going to get some plates here. So that play there was just kind of like a blunder. Like it doesn't really get you anything outside of just a kill. Even if that lands, I'm not. Probably wins. Still kind of close, I think. Pushes the LeBlanc out. Okay, so here's the problem with this. The timing of pushing her out, there's nothing to do on the map. So it's like a situation where, again, like you're fighting and you don't get anything out of it. I guess you can also argue that because the drag is so far out that you could definitely just use it for kills, for pressure. The scaling is kind of execution based, not really like one team totally outscales the other. I think they're just gonna get this tower. They'll get at least one more plate, I think. Renekton goes to answer bot. You don't want too many waves burning. This is not really ideal to start that. It ends up working out though. If you were gonna go do this, you don't start it until after the Vel'Koz shoves the wave. Because you need to know where the LeBlanc is. This is pretty bad to get caught here. Actually, it's fine, I guess. He wants to shove in the waves so LeBlanc can't roam so this guy can get this for free. But when the Kindred's already dead, it doesn't make sense to be up so far. So you should be pulling back until after they get the Herald. And then someone should start walking towards here, then he can push up again. That makes a lot more sense to me. Inferno Dragon's coming up in 50, so it should be a full reset here. They're trying. Both teams really want this one. They might just give it for this top tower plating. It looks like that's what they're doing. They get one, now they're booking it down. Not terrible. Okay, they did it in this order because they wanted the platings for the Herald. Because I was going to say they should go drag first and then drop this, but if you want platings, it makes sense to do it like this. It just looked super awkward to drop it there. But it looks like it would chase them back, so it's giving them drag priority anyways. It doesn't really matter that the Vel'Koz died. Even though he's playing kind of bad. So that Inferno's huge. This Renekton pick could also only come out because they picked both their solo lanes at the same time. Not that Renekton's like a good pick anyways, but it's good in lane for this guy. As you can see, he was down like 35 CS and now he's up. Just because of how the lane naturally goes. They get mid, it's really good. If anyone has a lot of gold here, they should be basing. I know Vel'Koz doesn't, bot lane probably doesn't, Talia doesn't, but they need to set up their play now. So this guy's going to push up top. Talia Vel'Koz want to get this in towards mid, and then rotate to bot and secure this tower. That'd be ideal. Fundamental play. Items are fine. Yeah, see, this is the kind of stagger basing I don't really like. Because we saw the Talia base and then the Vel'Koz base like one at a time. And the thing is that you're kind of wasting your Renekton's power spike at this point. And because of that, these guys get chunked out because there's no pressure anywhere, so he can just walk to wherever he wants. This is the play that I said that they should make. They just made it a little late. Okay, Renekton has to TP when the Irelia TPs. Pick up that one. That's really good. That was like standard rotation. Full reset here, I'd probably say. You can definitely try to go for this one. For this reset, I should say, not for this tower. Okay. Next drag's Infernal, so that should definitely be the priority at this point. So now it's both TP-less. So send the Renekton to top. Somebody has to deal with him. Walk 4 members to mid. Shove in mid. If you're FB. Just shove in mid. Go get drag control. and then start just playing around this drag vision until it spawns. The problem is, this wave here is going to crash around the time the drag's going to spawn. What I personally advocate for is don't send someone to this tower, just let this die. You need to get this. Like, putting someone into that position is super awkward. And it isolates them from the fight. So pretty much, they're pretty much doing what I would want them to do, except I would send more members towards mid. I don't think the Renection should ever leave top like this. I think it's super troll. They get a pick for no reason. I mean, no one should be on the top side of the map at that point. It just doesn't really make sense. And the Renection shouldn't leave top either, because if they ever send two, it's a free Infernal, and this progresses the game much more than this stuff. I think. They end up getting the Infernal anyways. It's very good for their champions. Draven wants to reset this wave, or do his best he can. Another play here that doesn't really net you anything. Actually, if you're being creative, you can get the pick here and then walk to bottom. For sure. But they don't end up doing that. They do end up getting this one due to that rotation a little bit. They just did it in a way where they didn't send Vel'Koz. It's decent. Really surprised that the Renekton wasn't able to get this lane shoved up. Part of the reason is because they dicked around so much on his power spike that he's just he just kind of has to walk around at this point. Now it's a full reset. It's good. How do you play with this full reset? You can't 1-3-1. So you send the Renekton to bottom and play for this vision. That's what I would say. I don't think they lose fights here. Items are getting kind of close. I don't really know what they're doing when they walk up like that. They don't need to grab this wave now. I have no idea what Talia is doing over here. You can let this push more in. And then come grab this wave. And then use these three to clear out more of this vision. And then group mid, I think. If the LeBlanc is still up there by the time they group mid, you probably get that mid tower. They get a pick. Okay, so basically these guys walked too far up and then they just ulted. So... okay, that should be Baron. They have a tank. And they have a Draven. And they have two Infernals. Tunneling Baron, now they're going to turn. It's good. As long as they get out with Barons here, super good. They don't really care about any of these creeps, to be honest. Next drag's Cloud, it doesn't matter. Yep, send your Renekton to the top. You could even send your Talia to bot. If you wanted to. Probably not worth getting picked though. But it's something to consider. But you're on your spike, you might as well group. Rotate the top here. They should be rotating. Okay, they did it kind of late, but they did it. Now I guess it's okay. No. Either 4 go back to mid, or 5 come top. You don't really want to split like this. The LeBlanc is, like, irrelevant. Just ignore. I don't see why the Renekton would ever not be able to get that on his own. He's trying to stall the wave a little bit, so this wave can come in. So now they're coming in at the same time. Really, really smart. It's really good. Really good that he trades a kill. They need to play more with the waves a little bit. Oh, this guy dies. As soon as... When this play's happening, this guy needs to get out. Or rotate over. Because they have to know that they're coming. I guess he feels safe. But then he kind of forgot about the Tom Kench ult. That's what I would guess. Because he would be okay in normal circumstances. Just need to be a little more patient with everything, in my opinion. There's a massive wave building on the bot side of the map. So I think what you do is you have Renekton walk this up, go mid, shove this in, and then rotate to bot. Because their wave clear isn't that good outside of Ezreal. But you have the, if you have the Braum there to block the Ezreal, their wave clear is actually quite bad. I don't see why you can't group 5 here. With a massive wave. So the blue team is like pinging it, like we gotta deal with this wave. It's gonna be huge. But the red team doesn't even look like they're setting it up. Maybe they are now. Don't really know what's going on. They're rotating too early. What? Ideally, you'd want to stall this until this wave came in and this wave was in, and then you come use this. But it looks like they're just wasting it. I don't know why. It seems really troll to me. I guess they're just waiting for the next Baron. That's their game plan. But I think they definitely could have maybe looked to end. Or at least get that inhib, and then the inhib guarantees the Baron. I don't think they could have ended. Overall, I do think FB is playing pretty well. I just think they, in order to close games out faster, they would have to adjust a few things about how they think about the game. But, I mean, when you're playing with your tournament life on the line, I guess you want to take the more guaranteed plays rather than, I guess, the best play. I would think that's the best play. to play on that bot wave. Kind of hard to tell sometimes. Maybe this is better. Maybe they want certain item thresholds. I was gonna say, this feels like the way to lose the game, though. Is if someone gets picked and then they lose Baron. They could definitely lose. Renekton's gonna fall off in about 4 minutes, probably. The Vel'Koz is doing more, like, it's being more effective than I thought it would be. I guess it's because the irelia is kind of neutralized a lot. Okay, third Infernal is great. They're just kiting back, and there's no, like, they have too much kite back with not enough engage, which is one of the reasons why I said you're going to see why Alistar's a much better pick than Tahm Kench here, and we're kind of seeing it here. You see them walking up, there's no lockdown. If they have Alistar here, he gets in the middle, he starts disrupting a lot more. This is much easier to follow up on. Really, really don't like the Tahm Kench pick. Maybe the other guy doesn't play Alistar or something, but I was really confused on their bot lane pickups. I mean, I think the Ezreal's fine. I think the Ezreal also lets the Alistar get out of lane because his laning is so weak and competitive. Maybe they just absolutely don't want that matchup against Braum. Or they don't want them to pick Vayne, because surely they would have picked... I mean, Tahm Kench and Alistar are kind of the same. Oh, excuse me. They surely lose Baron here. They have to go for it, though. It's like a desperation play. Find the recall. That's good. The way they use the Renekton TP is a little bit underutilized, but it's fine. I mean, not underutilized in, like... just kind of short-sighted, in a way. They're going to push in top here. It's their only viable wave, so they should get an inhib. Yeah, I think they will. I advocate for just for a reset bot here. I don't think this is good. If they win this fight, they win the game. But again, we're kind of... yeah, see, like, you're going for this dumb 50-50-esque fight, and then you're resetting anyway. So why not just pull the trigger on the reset in the first place, and then just walk 5 bottom? It like, makes no sense to go for it. I mean, it makes sense in the way that the game ends, but the game also ends if you just walk bot and then walk mid. So it just seems... I don't know, it just seems really... I don't like it. I don't like it. I think you end the game through bottom. I don't even know why they're going mid. I guess mid for mid priority, but if you're gonna do that, send the Renekton bottom so you can have a rotation, because this doesn't feel good to me. I don't think they ever break your base in a base race if you go bottom here. That's like the main concern you would want to have, but I don't think that ever happens. I think you just end on a base race actually. They do eventually get the Renekton to bottom. You're going to see it's much harder to siege this one rather than the bot one. But they get it done. And they have this wave prepped thanks to the Renekton. Not prepped in the best possible way, but good enough. Now it should be an easy end. So they just have to wait for all the supers to come in. Use the Vel'Koz to poke. Yeah, so this is game. Okay, overall pretty clean from Feminace. I thought they played that pretty well. I think they still had a lot of mistakes, and I think their early prep was really dumb. I don't like how they early prepped at all. Like Red Wraith's golems lose lose first scuttle, where you know one of the scuttles is going to be the mark, and you have Vel'Koz and you have Renekton, so your top side. I mean, all sides, no matter what scuttle you wanted to go for, would have had advantage there. You already know that they know. Well, I guess they don't know because you purposely set your bot lane so you don't get seen on Pixel Ward. So maybe he doesn't want to show where his positioning is, like where he started. But I feel like it's more important to just get the Renekton ahead. Because the Renekton 4-1s and the Irelia is neutralized. The drafts. Thought the drafts were fine. I didn't like that Phong Vu showed both solo laners so early. You kind of saw LeBlanc did nothing. They could have easily, like, I really would have a good matchup into Vel'Koz, I believe. I don't love the Kindred pick, first pick. I don't like the Tom Kench pick at all. And I don't like the Draven pick. Even though it did work out. The Draven pick did work out, but those are the three picks I don't like. With how the skeleton of the core, like the games are. Yeah, Feminace played well. Surprised. They did a lot right. They just need to tweak some of the stuff to make them more efficient. And I mean, all the playing teams, the early game prep has been absolutely atrocious. So yeah, that's it for this one. If you liked it, hit a thumbs up. Give me constructive feedback in the comments. And thanks for watching.